The first tip for writing fight scenes is to be conscious of the fact that books do not have the power of spectacle. But aside from graphic novels, but even then, it's to a limited extent, given that the images are static. TV shows and movies have moving images in them. That's why they're called movies. Uh, which allows things such as he kicked him, he kicked him, he kicked him in a different, cooler way, he kicked him again. You can get away with stuff like that in a Jackie Chan movie, where the kicking is kicking them in funny ways, or in a Bruce Lee movie where the kicking gets by on kicking them with a very, very serious expression. Because you can actually watch people get kicked in the face, which most people enjoy watching. But you can't watch somebody get kicked in the face when you're reading a book, because it's all happening in your head. Which means that while you might see the writing for a fight scene in a movie or a TV show and think, well, he kicks him. Like, if I was going to translate that into writing, it'd just be, he kicked him, he kicked him, he kicked him, he punched him, he kicked him, he punched him in a cooler way. He got stabbed. Which works fine when you're scripting a fight scene that's going to be on screen. But when you're writing something to happen in the mind, just be conscious of the fact that the reader isn't actually watching it happen. So the spectacle of a cool, flashy move, or a big fireball that the wizard casts at their enemies or whatever, is not going to hit as hard on its own, because the reader cannot actually see it. There's nothing inherently more exciting about imagining somebody get punched than there is imagining somebody talk about their favorite species of flower. The second thing to keep in mind when writing fight scenes is that the fight beginning is not in itself an excuse for the plot and character development to stop. This ties back to the earlier point that I made. Since movies and TV shows have the power of spectacle, a fight scene doesn't necessarily need to advance the plot and characters as much. It definitely should, but it doesn't need to as strictly, because it can sometimes skirt by just looking so cool that the audience doesn't give a crap. But your fights don't look cool. They don't look like anything at all outside of the reader's head. So the only significance that a fight scene holds to the reader is the kind of significance that any other scene would hold to the reader. By advancing the plot, giving new information about the characters, giving some new revelation other than your main character likes to punch and kick people in the face. Fights can reveal a lot about a character. Do they break down? Do they step up? How do they try to go about it? Do they rush straight into it, or do they try to garner peace beforehand before deciding that that's not going to work? And things can be realized over the course of a fight that gives some sort of revelation for the plot. Maybe the character makes a decision during the fight that leads to somebody living or dying or getting away, takes a risk they should have, or doesn't take a risk that they should have. And that can develop the character. Maybe they feel guilty. Maybe they're proud of what they did. Maybe they come into their own. Maybe they break down. But if nothing happens to your characters or your plot through the fight scene, and it's essentially just there because the author thought, it's been like 20 pages and nobody's gotten beaten up yet, my reader's probably falling asleep. And then you write a scene that ironically makes them a lot more likely to fall asleep. Generally, a fight scene in itself should have a beginning, middle, and end, so to speak. A progression. The characters all start wanting something, they go for that goal, they try to do what it takes to get that goal, at least. They fail or succeed partially. But a fight scene that is just a random flurry of punches and kicks with no overall flow or shift in power or narrative structure to it in a way that's just punch, punch, punch. Oh no, you punched me more than I punched you. I'm going to run away now, is generally not going to be compelling. The third and final thing to keep in mind for writing fight scenes is that not everyone is a robot. Fights can be chaotic. Most people at least outside of novels, I've met plenty of characters in novels who have this happen to them a lot more frequently than is realistic. But in general, most people don't have somebody try and slit their throat every single day of the week. So while training can reduce your reaction to it, maybe some people even just like killing people or just calm in general, most people are going to have some sort of emotional reaction to getting into a fight. This reaction doesn't have to be fear or paralysis. It can be anger. It can be glee. They can be overall fairly calm, but, they're not going to feel the same way they do regularly. Your heart rate's higher, you're more alert, and you're thinking more quickly. And not everybody is going to come into the fight with the exact same plan. Even if they plan the fight beforehand, things go off script. You have to think on your feet. So it's almost bound to happen that at some point, at least in a realistic fight, something happens that isn't planned. The characters have to adapt. And unless they're all clones of each other, they're usually going to adapt in different ways. Some people may get flustered, break down, not know what to do, perhaps become a liability and endanger themselves and the others who are on their side. Some people step up or just try and follow the rules as well as possible and operate on the system that they went, like the plan of action that they went into the fight with, even if it no longer adequately functions. Some people are going to become a complete maverick, go do their own thing, do what they think will work best in the situation, and they will either be proven to be a genius or dead, depending on how that works out for them. But not everybody is going to react to the same situation the same way. Some people, based on their personality and based on the situation, might decide, okay, now's the time to pull back, go regroup, and as they're in the very moment they start yelling to regroup, the other guy starts rushing forward and kamikaze attacking everybody around him. It's very hard to plan while you're in the midst of a fight and people are trying to kill you. So remember that not everything needs to go according to plan.